and welcome to our program. I'm Dale Garrett, and it's my pleasure to present this new series on the need for character education. Our slogan is, Character Begins at Home. This series is sponsored by the American Clergy Leadership Conference, the ACLC. We believe that the future of our communities, nation, and world will be shaped and determined by the kind of youth we raise. In schools all around the country and in churches, mosques, and synagogues, religious leaders and parents are discussing character education. As the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. I'd like to start by introducing our panelists. We have some very distinguished people here who have given of their time and effort to share their expertise and experience with us. We have Nancy Mikowski, Father Pedro Contreras, and Sister Inez Harvey. And I'm Dale Garrett. I'm from New Mexico, and I was a public school teacher there for several years, teaching in a very diverse school. I also taught on the East Coast in Connecticut and have taught for a short while here in Pasadena in California. I was wondering if each one of you could present a little introduction about yourself, why you're interested in character education, and, well, just a little bit about yourself. Nancy?
Yeah. My name is Nancy Escalera Makowski. I'm originally from South America, Ecuador, and I'm here today as a concerned parent. I have 4 teenagers and a 12-year-old daughter at home. Also, I'm a teacher, teach character education. And I'm here because I'm really concerned about how to educate our children beginning at home and then in the schools.
Father?
I am a Catholic priest. I am a professor in American Hispanic School, teaching adult high school completion and character and family values to the families.
Thank you. Inez?
I am Inez Carolyn Harvey. I am a retired public school teacher and mentor who has taught in Los Angeles Unified School Public School District for many years. I've enjoyed my experiences, and I am concerned about, I'm gravely concerned about families in crisis today. So I feel that we can do something about it, and that's why I'm here.
First question I'd like to bring up is, why is character education for young people important today? Would you like to share something about that, Inez?
Yes. During my teaching experiences, I have observed so much unrest among the students, and especially those from homes that are broken. So I'm in lack of character development, so I would like to see that addressed in our educational program today, because it brings so much hurt to families, and it often ends in divorce. First, infidelity often, and then it leads into divorce. And divorce is not all about just the husband and the wife, but the children. When there are children involved, they suffer so very, very much. So I've just seen so much sadness among our students, and much of it has to do with the lack of character building. And divorces do not have to be as plentiful as they are, because it requires, when we say for better or for worse, for rich or for poor, in sickness or in health, it should mean something. So every time there is a disagreement, it doesn't have to lead to divorce. But infidelity should not be a part of that relationship. You know, when we take those vows, they're very serious. And number one, we don't have to get married, but if you choose to get married, then you must understand that it involves 2 people and their lives are, we must be concerned about each other's future as well as the children, because if the parents are unhappy and their children, the children are going to be unhappy, because the children learn how to be good parents from you. And if you're poor parents, then it's going to spread to them as well. So we really want people to think, married couples to think seriously before they enter into that relationship.
Okay, that's a very important point, yes. I was also wondering about you say you've taught for 40 years in the...
40 years.
44 years in the school system. And
yes.
Father Contreras, you've also taught for a long time. What are some of the differences between students today and students 50 years ago? What can you say as some of the differences?
When I was young, long time ago, we started at home learning what we see, just living our family style. The first the place we go after that was the church, and start learning, having 6, 7, 8 years. Then we went to school, where we found peers, and the rich family had already TV. Not everybody. But now, the first influence the young people have is from the peers. Second influence is coming, according with the studies, from TV. Hopefully, third, at the home example and guidance and values, then the school, and the last one is the church. Of course, it's a wrong way. I guess the home should be the school of love, where we learn our values, and later on the school, then the church, similarly, and of course peers and TV, but not the peers and TV as a primary sources for your values. That's one of the main reasons why our society is as is now.
I have just a concern. The reason, even if the children come from homes with good values, even if the parents really make their utmost effort to raise the children well, they go to school, and what do they find? I have a daughter who's in 6th year last year, and she came home telling me that she had seen the teacher in the back of the school teaching her how to put a condom. And she said, "Mommy, what it is?" Like 6th grade. And I signed a permission slip, but it was for health education. So I went to the principal and asked her, why is it that there's not much, a little bit more specific about what they're teaching to the children. So that's why my concern. Why is it that we cannot bring these values, this character education that we parents have at home? Why is it that we cannot bring them in schools?
Yeah, that's very important. I feel that one reason we're doing this is we believe that the media, like this TV program we have now, the parents, the families, the schools, that they should all work together to cooperate with each other to bring the best possible education for young people. And if you just work with one, it's not enough.
Exactly.
You really have to be working in cooperation with each other.
Unfortunately, many of the parents are not so accurate. They are not all the time with the children. They fight, they have violence, they have drugs, they have divorce. And then when we are talking about that character education, we should involve, or the parents should be involved by themselves to renew their knowledge, renew their values, so they have a role model with the children. Otherwise, children may be through one road and the parents through another.
That's very good. There should be a renewal of the families and a renewal of the parents as well as education for the children, is what you're saying. It's not just the children that need it, but we all need to learn more about our inner values and character education.
It's the time to parents to act in that way. Start renewing the family and have work in that.
This kind of goes into my next question, which is, we know that the physical desires of people are the desire for money or for shelter, for wealth, for sex, for comfort. We know these physical desires are an important part of life, but what about the inner values, the inner resources that we need to connect with in our hearts? What are some of the inner desires that we have to fulfill in order to find true happiness? Do you have any thoughts on that, anyone?
I think that we need to, in fact, I'm sure we need to introduce Christ to our children and make sure they understand that God is our creator, you say, and that we should share with them Christian education, the importance of Christian education, to give them a sound foundation, introduce Christ to them. And we know that they have to accept Christ for themselves. We cannot accept him, but we can expose them to what thus says the Lord. The 10 Commandments, the Lord's Prayer. We should teach them Christian education and let them know that God first, then career, family second, and career is third. As they grow older, maybe they will keep these values in mind. And we just can't expect them to know how they are to live each day if we do not teach them at an early age about Jesus and what he expects from us.
And I know you've done a lot of wonderful work in your church, in the Baptist, the Citizens of Zion Baptist Church.
Yes.
And of course, Father Contreras with his Catholic parishioners. I'm a Christian myself, but I do want to mention to the audience that we are not only emphasizing Christian education, but for Jewish people, for Muslims, for people of any faith, Buddhists or whatever, if they can apply their own faith background to character education, we think it's going to be much more powerful than just talking about it in an academic way, like a history lesson or a mathematics class. We really feel that faith element does have to be brought into character education. Would you agree with that?
Something that's very important, like these values that we're talking about, for instance, faith, love, harmony, beauty, purity, righteousness. These are values that everyone has. It doesn't matter the religion. What matters is these are universal values that are part of our humanity, a part of our inner selves.
Yes.
And if we can apply those in our homes, as you say, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be religious values. It has to be universal, loving, harmonious values. If we can do that in our homes. And we have to go back to the root, as you were saying, Sister Inez, we have to go back to the root,
Surely.
to the very, very bottom. We have to go back to the homes to educate the parents, to educate the children, and the parents and the children together.
Right.
Learn these values.
Exactly.
Put them in their minds and put them in practice. Because we have a lot of knowledge. Everywhere we go, there's a lot of knowledge. But how many of us are putting into practice our knowledge? Okay, like for instance, I know many Christians too. By the way, I'm Christian too. I love God. I love Jesus. I love the Holy Spirit. But how many of us are really going home and sitting with our children at night before going to bed and trying to understand where's my child right now, emotionally? How was your day today? Tell me what's going on. And at the end of that conversation, sit down and pray and say, okay, let's connect.
Surely.
This relationship, let's connect with our Creator, with our source of life and love and faith. So that's what we're here for. We're trying to bring this out and put this knowledge into practice in our daily life. I think that's the call right now.
Right. This is true. I agree with you on that. Because children learn by what they see us do.
Exactly.
They watch us.
Yeah.
They do what they try to emulate us in everything that we do, you see. So it's not all about what we say, but as much as what we do.
Exactly.
And you might think they're not really paying attention to what you do. You may say one thing, but how are you carrying out, what you're asking them to do? So we really want to be good role models for our children. So I'm happy that we are discussing this topic today. And hopefully one day we can get this integrated into our schools as well, because it's very, very important that our children get this information and see it modeled among our models.
It goes back to something a wise man told me once, that the behavior is what shapes our habits.
Right.
And habits, once we learn them, are what create our characters.
That's true.
If we really have the correct actions based on the correct understanding and correct heart, then we can develop good character on that basis.
Of course, so that they can be better people.
But that kind of goes along with the next question, actually, which is, what should our priorities be for education? There's so many things that we're requiring our children to learn these days. Math, for instance, science, history, English. There's so many different subjects that we require them to know. Computers, the internet. What are our priorities for education? What should we make our main priority? I want to ask you, Father, what you thought about that.
Let's remind we all are very similar with the animals. You can train a horse to jump when you order. And the animals have instinct. We the human have a soul, have a spirit. We have a mind. We have the reason. Including when we are upset, when we are drunk, we are drugged. What happens? Like our mind becomes disconnected from the body, and we become as a beast. It used to happen. Murders and rapes, so many things that happen because the brain is disconnected. Because that it means that if we remind now that we have the spirit, that skills, the spiritual skills, the manners, the conduct, the behavior is first, and after that you can go and act as a human being, a real human being, outside, learning not only literacy, not only academics, but also the physical skills, of course. But then in the real order, the normal order in human should be first the spirit, the mind, secondly the academic, and thirdly the physical skills. And even, remember last century, I remember the last century, the most important was to have physical skills to build, to assemble. Now, this is the information era, so we need to have a lot of academic information if we have spiritual information and behavior and character. Otherwise, we may work well or wrong as animals.
That's, in other words, what you're saying, Father. I saw a pyramid once, in which what are you talking about? You know, the bottom, was the foundation was the physical and the technical, and then the second was the external skills, and the third one was the mind, which is very small, the character. So it's inverted. So we have to reverse that, right? We
Very
have
small,
to.
but the strongest.
Yeah, exactly. So we have to focus first in the moral, in the internal, in the mind, in the virtues, right? So once
How
the
can
kids.
those be done, Nancy? How can we build up those inner characteristics that you're talking about?
That's what I'm saying. It
It's
begins in the
like
family.
inverting
the pyramid.
the values chart.
Right, right. So it should begin in the family, because children learn everything from the family, from two parents who supposedly are mature, loving adults, responsible adults.
Yes.
So once those children receive all that from the parents, that's the most important foundation for them to receive. And then once they receive that, then they're ready to go out into the society, the school, and the university, whatever else comes, in that order.
Right.
Right now we have it completely upside down.
Right.
Yeah.
We really do.
So that's my opinion. I think we have to start in the family, and that from there, your slogan that you said, character begins at home, I think is a great slogan.
It certainly is. It really is. Oh, and may we go back to youth in crisis, the sex part?
Sure.
I feel, and the sex, the drugs, and STDs and crime, I think we really need to address that at a much earlier age, you see. Waiting until 13, 14, those
too late.
years are too late today. When I taught school, I taught first grade, first, second, and on up to sixth grade, as well as mentored teachers. I mentored them from universities, and I feel that some of my first grade students would come out and talk to me about subjects like lesbians and all that. And, I said, well, what are you talking about? I wanted to see how much they really knew. Those children were very educated about a lot of things, about the lesbians and this and that, and sex. They understood more than we have given them credit for. So I really think that we are addressing sex at much too late in life, 14, 15, that's too late. We need to, as families, address that issue as early as age appropriate and allow the children to learn about them, give them the sexual facts or education that they're able to understand at their age level. So if it's 5 or 6 and they want to know where does babies come from, we shouldn't say the stork. Right, the stork didn't
Or the
bring
cabbage.
the terms right.
Yeah.
They need to know as much as age appropriate so that they won't grow up ignorant, thinking all of these weird tales that we have told them. And then I feel if we were to address this issue much earlier, the children would not learn it from the street, because they're going to learn it from the street when we don't teach them
So it's better for them to learn at home, right?
At home.
From the parents.
From their parents, and don't talk as if it's something to be ashamed of, you see, because this is life.
It's sexual desires are a natural thing
And they're
to have.
natural feelings, and
But
we
it's also important to be able to control them.
Okay, of course,
That's
and I
what we're
feel
talking
that,
about.
that this would less their anxiety, too, if we were to address those issues as age appropriate. And then it becomes like eating your regular food every day, don't make it seem like it's something dirty. And then they give the body parts different names, weird names, the sexual parts, from what they've heard in the street.
Exactly. So.
They call it those names, and those are not the psychological names that we should give them. So that would help too. And the drugs and all is to be not drink, the drugs in the homes. If the parents are using these drugs, and the children will think it's okay,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So we need to watch what we do
Mm-hmm.
more than what we say.
Mm-hmm.
The talk and what we say must match.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've all brought out some excellent points. We're coming towards the end of our show, and I just wanted to ask a final question, which is, what can be done with the media, like this TV show or other forms of media? What can be done to help promote character education? What can we do to help the families, reach the schools, the churches, or other faith groups? What can we do to really expand character education in an effective way?
I guess that the media and parents and families should put emphasis in cultivation of heart first. Second, educate youth in how to have good relationships with others, and through programming we see that, and include in the curriculum the character education, as we are doing in our Lowell High School.
In other words, create an awareness, like an advertising campaign. I mean, we do so many advertisements for all the things that are not important. Why not create an advertising campaign for character education? Character begins at home.
Exactly.
You know, so the parents can also get educated and take your child. Yeah, learn together with your child. Go to school together with your child. Go to church together with your child. Sit and watch a program. You know, hopefully this program, other programs.
Everybody in the society, the media, the leaders, the father and mother, the teachers, everybody, we need the ministers. We have that responsibility, starting with the leaders, because people follow the leader.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Well, I want to thank you so much, everyone, for coming here today, and it's been wonderful talking with you about these issues. And please watch our show next time as well, at the same time, the same station. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good evening.